Hey pickleball friends, Mark Runnison from Third Shot Sports. Welcome to another episode of Pickleball Today. But you know what? I'm on holiday right now. Little family vacay in Quebec, Canada. So there's not really an episode of Pickleball today. Just kidding. We'd never miss an episode of this show. Let's get to it. All right, so I think I mentioned I'm here on a camping trip, and we're here because there's a paddling competition. My wife's a paddling coach, and so we're here. And this is actually where we are. Okay, can you see here? There we go. It's a little fancier than we normally do, and so that means that there's like facilities here. And so as soon as we drove in the other day, I noticed, because that's what I do, right away, that there were, in fact, pickleball courts. Let me show you. Okay, so this is what I saw when we arrived, that there's pickleball courts. They're nicely colored, right? Looks pretty good. Don't mind the porta potty. Anyway, so pretty cool, right? And I looked over here and there's this whole, like, I call it a gazebo. I know it's not a gazebo, it has a real proper name, pergola. Anyway, it's really cool. But there's something about these courts that are kind of funny that I want to show you. Okay, so here we are on these courts, and these are these beautiful dedicated courts. My guess is this used to be tennis courts, and then they decided to change things and they painted them. It's all nice. Got the pergola in the background. Right? Looks great, doesn't it? Okay, and what's neat about it too is I also found over here, someone has obviously put in some effort to create these little barriers here. Now, we just had let me put that down there. We just had a storm yesterday, so I'm thinking that knocked this down. So let's go and help them out. And this little like barrier system that they have here, this is just, it's like styrofoam almost. Here, let me just put you down here. Very low barrier, so sometimes the balls still bounce over is what I've noticed. But people have obviously gone into some effort here, and I think that's really cool. Right, they've got these little barriers here. What I've also noticed is another sign that somebody here in this rather, I don't want to say it's remote, but this smallish town here in Quebec, if you come over here, take a look at this, right? Hauteur filet, and that means net height. Net height. Here, let me get that in the sun. What was cool here, my wife said, what the heck is that stick for? She's not a pickleball person. But look, someone has obviously gone to the effort to make this little stick so they can measure the net height. Anyway, I thought that's really neat as well. And you can see there's a lake in the background. It's beautiful. Okay, so that's not what I really want to show you that's strange here. What's strange here is that you have these beautiful courts, and then here you have a court with a net. And here you have a court with no net. And then over here, court with a net. And then over here, court with no net. Net, no net. Net, no net. And there's a little barrier. So what's going on? Well, let me tell you. So what's going on here is that whoever put in the money and like designed these courts didn't actually understand what goes on in pickleball. Right, so if you look here at the court beside me, okay, so there we see our net, there's that little barrier, and there's no net. Well, and right behind me, right, net, no net. Because what's happening is, let's say I'm playing here on this court, right, I'm standing here playing on this court. Well, you see there's no fence that divides this set up. Well, here, let me show you. You see there's no fence separating the courts. That's why they have this little barrier that they made. There's no fence. So if people are playing over there on that court, and people are playing here on this court, well, not only are balls going to run back and forth into each other, but they're going to run into each other. Just imagine if I was over here, right, I'm getting ready to return serve or something like that, and I don't know, you, because you're a very good server, I'm sure, you serve nice and deep, and then I take a step back, well, all of a sudden I am literally on the next court. So it becomes a real safety hazard when you put courts back to back like this. And so obviously what they've had to do is they've had to say, okay, we're going to stagger these courts. Right, no net over there, because there is a net, oh, there you go, there is a net there, right? Net there, that means no net here. No net there, so you can put a net here. Net over there, no net there. And so what a shame it is that you have these beautiful courts. You obviously have someone who's wanted to like dedicate money into making them into, I suspect these were tennis courts before, making them into pickleball courts so people can play. And I've been here for a few days now and people have been coming out and playing, but you can only use half the courts. Right? Because you've had to stagger because there's no fence in between them. And the truth is, the distance is so short. Right? Here, let's see if I can show you. Right? So here I am, here. It's 1, 2, three of my steps and I'm on the other court. And so if you put a fence 1.5 steps, halfway between the two, it's all of a sudden it's so tight. They just need a little more space, push those fences back, and it'd be really, really great. In the end, you end up having half the space you can use. It hurts my heart a little bit as someone who loves pickleball and loves seeing pickleball accessible to new people and new communities. And honestly, when I've been out here at the camping, it's it has always been very family oriented. We've seen lots of kids out here with their parents. We've seen older people, we've seen younger people. It's been really great, but they can't use it fully, right? Because of the way it's been set up and there's no fence in between. So the story? Well, the moral of the story is if you are someone who is in charge of designing courts, make sure you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's okay too. I do lots of things where I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know enough that I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's the time to call in a professional. That's the time to call in a consultant. That's the time to spend a little bit of money on someone who knows what they're doing. How does it go? Measure twice, cut once. That's it. Measure twice, cut once. Spend a little bit of effort measuring that second time, making sure that you're doing it in a way that makes sense. And then you can go out and you can have these people enjoy what otherwise would be these really beautiful courts. A common complaint I hear from people is that when they're playing their dinks, assuming they get into a dinking battle of some kind, that they have trouble kind of being consistent. And if you think about it, it's sort of funny because a dink is a really soft shot from up close to the net. It seems like it shouldn't really be that challenging a shot to hit. But yet here we are very often playing dinks that aren't really fully under our control. Sometimes we set the ball too high and then our opponents get to smack it. Sometimes we play it wide. Sometimes we put it in the net, right? So let's think a little bit about what we can do to have a more consistent dink. So one of the things that I commonly see when people hit their dinks is that there's so much action happening here, but their wrist is so involved. And you can see here, as I'm hitting this ball, if my hand and wrist are moving, you can see how the paddle face changes, right? Same on my backhand. If my hand and wrist are really involved, for 1 second, fraction of a second really, the paddle is facing straight ahead, and then the next, now it's in the middle of the court, and the next it's cross court. And the more movement there is here, the more variability, the more risk I'm taking on. Because if I'm moving my hand, right, if you're getting all this action as you're hitting, you don't make contact at just the right moment, well, all of a sudden the ball is gonna go to the wrong place. And so you're playing a high risk kind of dink when you're moving your wrist a lot. What's the solution here? Well, what you can do is you can think about having a more stable wrist all the way through contact. And a more stable wrist should lead to a more stable paddle face. So watch when I play this ball, how stable it is here, right? And same thing on the backhand, stable wrist and a stable paddle face at impact. And that way, whether I make contact here or here or here, see how the paddle's facing where I want? If I'm on the forehand, whether I make contact here or here or here, the paddle stays consistent. And what we call it, the technical term for this is called having a long hitting zone. And the hitting zone is just the area through space that you can make contact and still have the ball go where you want. Right now I'm having a very long hitting zone, whether I hit here or here or here, the paddle's pretty much uniform, right? Whereas if I'm moving my hand and wrist, all of a sudden it changes a lot. So having a stable wrist, having a stable paddle face will allow you to have a longer hitting zone. And that gives you more margin for error when you're playing your dink. So why is it that sometimes people don't have these long hitting zones? Why is it that they sometimes don't have much stability when they hit? Right? When they hit the balls and they do one of these, right? And then the ball goes all over the place. Well, I think there's a few different reasons, and some of them are physical and some of them are psychological. So the physical aspect is I just don't have this feeling of being stable through here, right? I don't have the feeling of using primarily my shoulder or my legs to lift that ball. And so in the end, I start using these smaller joints, right? Like my wrist, my forearm, and my elbow to do the work. So I don't have the feeling. So a way you can start to develop this feeling, especially if you're playing on your own like I am here today, is you can just do what we call a self-rally. And a self-rally is when you're just hitting the ball straight up to yourself, really working on keeping the paddle face stable. So we don't want to see this, right, where it moves all over. We want this to be stable all the way through. I could do this on my forehand. I could do this on my backhand. I'm looking for a stable paddle face. Incidentally, we could also do this on our volleys, right? A stable paddle face, a stable paddle face. Okay, so just developing that feel for having stability through contact is really important. I mentioned there's also a psychological aspect here, something that might be preventing people from having that stable paddle face through contact. And here's the situation. Someone who's in a regular dinking situation with their friend or whatever, they're just hitting some balls, might be really good at being stable all the way through contact. But all of a sudden, when there's pressure on them, when the ball's not coming to them in the same way, the way that's predictable, when there's a consequence if they miss, right? If they hit too fast and the ball goes up, it gets pounced on, right? So all of a sudden, when there's something that changes psychologically, when we feel this pressure, then that often has a manifestation what goes on physically, right? When I get tight, all of a sudden you get these kinds of actions here. So that's the first thing to sort of pay attention to is like, is there a psychological change, right? Am I feeling this pressure as I'm playing a dink? Am I worried that I'm about to pop it up? Because then that's gonna have all these ramifications for when you go and start to hit. So what can you do about that? Well, it's tough. I mean, pickleball's a game and games are meant to be fun. And if you're feeling so much pressure that you can't even control your body here, then maybe we need to like reevaluate a little bit what it is that we're doing out here. I think the other thing you could do is you could work on dinks with a friend or a partner, right? And not just work on them where you're hitting them back and forth, but work on it where there's some sort of consequence if you miss, right? If you don't hit the ball to the right place or the right height over the net. And so starting to train with that little bit of a sense of like, ooh, this is important, this matters. Then all of a sudden when you're in an environment in a match where it matters, that's not that unfamiliar to you, right? You've been training in that situation for some time, so it feels familiar. All right, one last trick, and it doesn't always work, but one last trick that you might want to consider. This is what we use with the kids quite a lot when we're talking about having a stable paddle face. So we say to the kids, look, pretend the paddle face is a mirror, okay? And I want to show my friend, in this case, you're my friend. I want you to be able to see yourself in the mirror, right? And if I hit like this and the paddle face is stable, you can see yourself in the mirror all the way through. If I do one of these, right, all of a sudden you can't see yourself. Or I'm stable through here, you can see yourself, see yourself, see yourself. If I do one of these, you can't see yourself anymore, right? So that could be another way you can think about it. It's sort of like a bit of a trick to get that sort of physical sensation of stabilizing the paddle face. Is just imagine when you're hitting with someone else, you want them to be able to see themselves in the mirror the whole way, right? And if it's two-handed backhand, you want them to be able to see themselves. If you do one of these, they can't see themselves. Okay, before we wrap up this video, I should mention that you don't have to play dinks with this completely stable paddle face all the time, right? As we watch more and more advanced players play, we see that they're using topspin, sometimes backspin, but backspin has a fairly stable face. Anyway, they're using more topspin on their dinks because they want to hit that ball so that it goes up and over the net and then dips down, right? And that dipping action comes from the topspin. And the topspin comes from rushing up the ball. So when I hit this dink, I need to be able to hit this dink with a little bit of spin, with a less, let's say it one more time, with a less stable paddle face. That's how we create that spin, right? Same thing on the backhand, playing two-handed backhand dinks. Right? And they use, especially using that left, that non-dominant hand, I should say, as they're hitting these to help get that top spin, right? So it's not wrong if you're starting to move a little bit as you're hitting them, especially if you're trying to play a more aggressive topspin dink, but it does become riskier. It's riskier as you get riskier. Something just to consider right now, if you're like at this intermediate level where you're like, Mark, I just need to be able to keep this dink in play so it's not attackable, I'm not worried about spin, then we can really think about stable paddle face and all the things we just talked about. If you're someone who wants to play a more aggressive dink and you know you need to use that topspin, well, you're gonna have to start to take a little bit of risk to do it. Okay, so beautiful day. I think we should go on the pickleball courts. You like this idea?
Yeah.
Go do some pickleball games? Okay, we gotta figure out which paddles you're gonna use first. So, who do you think should get this one, the green machine? Owen, okay, green machine for you. Now we go next youngest. So Cecily, which one do you want here? Tough choice.
That's empty.
Take your paddle. 3, 2, white lightning it is. Okay, Julia?
What's a zebra?
The zebra? Okay, blue one. All right. Let's grab the balls, and we'll go out on the courts. Let's go.
Probably mature.
Okay, what do you think? Should we use this court here?
Yeah.
Is this a good one? Okay, so the first thing we should do, right, when we hit the ball back and forth over the net, that's called a rally, and that's the fun part of pickleball. We should see if as a group we can rally or not. So let's see how many in a row we can do. I'll do the first ball. Julia, you ready? Sass, you ready? Owen, you ready? Okay, here we go. All right, that's 0. 1. Julia, so strong. So strong. Okay, our record is 0. Let's see. Here we go. Ready? Let's see. Okay, that's 0. And 1. Good effort, Owen. I got it. 2. Julia, that's you. 3. Yes. 4. Go. Go, Owen. That's you. You got it. Okay. 6. A new record. 7. Go, Owen. Woo! Pretty good. High five. Gentle. Gentle. Oh, yeah. Well done. Okay, Julia, you do one more. What? Oh, another big one. Another big one. Okay, our record is 6. Here we go. 1, 2. Oh, so close.
Okay, let me through. So, that's nothing.
That's nothing. 1, 2, 3. Ah, I got it. 4, 5. Go, Owen. Yes, 6. I got it. I got it. 7, 8. Woo! Okay, so let's stop there. Oh, you're welcome. That's a nice hug. Okay, so let's pause for a second. What was our record? 8. Okay, I bet we can do more than 8, but you know what we need to be able to do? The part of pickleball that's toughest isn't hitting the ball, but it's moving to the right place to hit the ball, right? All of you were really good when you were standing still to hit it over, but it's the moving and hitting that's hard. So here's what we're gonna do. Can you take your paddle and just put it against the net here? Perfect. Okay, now Julia, maybe you and I can demonstrate this one together. So we're gonna play a little game and we're gonna do it in different steps. Oh, and you watching here? This is step number 1. You and I are gonna play toss and catch. You gotta catch the ball with 2 hands after the bounce. Ready? So it bounces and then, come on. Very good, perfect. Then you toss it back to me, underhand. Okay, good. Yeah, you can do an underhand throw. And I can make you move a little bit. Whoa, whoa, good, Can she move to it? Perfect. Oh yeah, oh, that's a tricky one. Sess, you come over here and take my spot. Owen, you and I get to do this together here. Owen, put down green machine. No, Sassy, there's your ball. You do it with Julia. Owen, put down your green machine by the net. Here, we put it. We don't need the green machine for this one. Watch. It's a tricky game. Sass, can you do an underhand throw, please? Owen, come close. Come close, Owen. Ready. Here it comes. Okay, can he catch it? Can he catch? Ooh, so close. Okay, Cecily and Julia, in about 30 seconds, we're having a contest, so I hope you're practicing hard. Oh, and that's a great throw. Your turn to catch. Ready? Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh, no, I use the microphone. Here, do a little throw to me. Okay. 10 seconds till contest time. Okay. And time. Okay, hold your ball. So here's the contest. Oh, and do you know the alphabet? Okay, so we are going to try to get all the way through the alphabet. So here's what I mean. Can I take your spot, Julia? So watch. Cecily, ready? Ball's got to bounce once and you got to catch it. And if you do, you get the letter A. And then you toss it underhand. B. C. That's good. And see how you can kind of move like an athlete, like you're ready for action? That's very good. That'll make it easier. Whoa, okay, very good. So we are trying to get as far through the alphabet as we can. We're going to see first team. Let's say 1 minute. How far through the alphabet can you get? On your marks. Owen, you ready?
What if we get past though?
If you get a full alphabet in a minute, I'll do 5 push-ups. 3, 2, 1, go. Here it comes, Owen. Try to catch it. Oh, no, no way. And if you drop it,
it has to be 1 bounce?
1 bounce only. Okay, we got a B, Owen. Very good. Ooh. Now, do you go back to A if you drop it?
Yep.
No, you get to keep going. You get to keep going. Oh, that's the next one. We got to finish alphabet first. Quick. Okay, here it comes. I got it. Ready? Oh, and we're at B. Oh, so close. Oh, underhand throw on. What are you at, G already? Interference. Okay, pause. Timeout. All right. I've noticed something. When we send the ball higher, so Seth, can you send it not super high? That was not very what I meant. Like if I send a really high ball, that looks like it's pretty easy for you to catch.
But if you send it lower, it's...
And why is it easier for you to catch if I send it higher? You have more time to get ready. Exactly. So pass it back, please. Okay. Ooh. Also, if you send it higher, you don't have to worry about the net. Okay. So if you send it higher, you have more time. But if I send it lower, ready? You're going to have, it's less time. So right now, if you're trying to be friendly with your partner to get lots of alphabet, lots of letters, what kind of ball do you think you should send to each other? Yeah, well, I can't even see that. Not that high, but high enough that she has some time. What letter are you at?
H.
H. Okay, Owen, we're at C. Ready? Continue. Here we go. There it is, Owen. Yes. Oh, good. D. Next letter. Oh, Annette. Very good, Cecily. Good. Whoa. Julia caught it with her arm. Okay. Here we go. We're at F now. Keep going. G. H. I. J. Oh, we're catching up. K. L. M. Ah, oh, I dropped it. Oh no, quick. Here we go. We're at N. O. P. Did you just say what's after R? S. T. U. Oh no, we dropped it. We're going for U. U. It's a race to the end. V. Oh, no catch. V. W. Oh, quick. You gotta catch it, Cecily. W. X. Y. And Z. Oh! Girls won by a nose. That was so good. High five. High five. Okay. High five. Okay. All right, thanks for watching Pickleball Today. I'd love to know what you think about the show. Send me an email, mark@hotspot.com. Let me know what you think. We're going to go back to cheering.